Hey guys, I made a video a couple months ago titled 8 Seconds, and it was basically just me talking about how one day, like 8 seconds of that day, completely changed a lot for me. And it was just talking about a traumatic experience or whatever the case may be. And I just wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about how you truly never know like what somebody goes through within a day. And lately I've been having those days where it's just like so much happens, and it's not even just like little stuff, like so much traumatic, just weird stuff happens within the day. And I'm just like, if this is me, regular me, going through this stuff, like imagine what people, like if this is just a month for me, like imagine a year for somebody else. Like imagine what other people go through within their day, and they still come to school, and they still smile, and they still talk to their friends, and they still show up to work, and they're still kind. And so I just wanted to make a really quick reminder to say, like, you really have no clue what somebody's coming out of, what somebody has to go home to. And so when we see people who always want to be outside and always want to do this and always want to do that, and it bothers us, and we're like, why can't this person ever just go home? It's like sometimes home isn't safe for other people. Sometimes home is not a safe place. Sometimes home has never felt like a safe place for people. And so anywhere else where they can laugh, where they can have true connection, where they don't have to feel afraid or don't have to plug their ears or don't have to hide somewhere, is a safe space for them. And home for a lot of people is just not that space. And a lot of us judge, and a lot of us make assumptions. And this, like, all these experiences that are happening in my life are really humbling, because we're so quick to judge, we're so quick to make assumptions, but it's just like, we don't know the half of what people go through. Especially because I know that I'm a very private person, and we have to be really close for me to even tell you anything about my life. And so I don't even share, not even 95%, I don't even share 5% of what I go through. And so it's just imagine how much people have to deal with the night before, the morning of, and still show up as themselves, and still do their work, and still be sane. And an experience happened to me recently, and I felt like I was going completely insane. I never experienced something like that. And I'm very emotionally resilient, so I can really control my emotions. But in that moment, I just felt like whatever happens to me, I don't even care at this point. I just can't believe this is my life. I want to get away from here. I don't want to live this life. And some people think that every single day, and it's not funny, and it's not always a suicidal thing. Sometimes when people say, I don't want to live this life, I don't want to be in this life, it just simply means the reality that they're living in is just too much to bear. And I had never understood that until I experienced it myself, where I was living in a reality. And I know people say take things one day at a time, but what happens when too much is happening one day at a time? What happens when a traumatic event after traumatic event after traumatic event is happening every single day? How can you take things one day at a time? Where is the time to stop and grieve? Where is the time to stop and heal your heart? And so a lot of people don't recognize that. And I was one of those people who really didn't recognize how much of a toll stuff like this takes on people. And I'm emotionally resilient, and stuff like this takes a huge toll on me. And imagine people who aren't healed. Imagine people who aren't aware of themselves. So it's just it was just such a big wake-up call, whatever the event that happened in my life. It was just such a big wake-up call to not make assumptions, and really just approach everybody with compassion. Even those people who are so rude to you, who just seem to be miserable and have an attitude all the time, turn the other cheek. I know that's so cliche, I know it's cringy, but literally that's what I feel like that's what Jesus is talking about when he says, if somebody takes your jacket from you, or takes whatever from you, give them your coat too, give them this too. If your neighbor's hungry, feed that. And there's a proverb that says that a calm word, or a loving conversation burns coals on your enemy's head. It stops your enemy or whoever you're fighting against from being hot-tempered, because a lot of people don't expect us to respond in respect when they give us an answer in disrespect. But I know how hard it is, and I know that it's just it feels really hard to have to deal with somebody who is taking out all their anger on the rest of the world. But I'm telling you, we really don't know the half of what people go through. And if people don't know the half of what you go through, imagine what they go through. Like, it's just really, really, really hard for everybody. Everybody is struggling. Everybody is trying to build something, make something of themselves, and having to deal with personal matters, having to deal with work matters, having to deal with school matters, having to deal with relationships, having to deal with children, having to deal with like so many other things. Like, this life is not easy. And so I think that when we approach each other with a lot of compassion, it just makes it easier on a lot of people. It's easier to build connections. It's easier to talk to people. And I encourage you that if you are able and if you have access to therapy or just physiotherapy, anything to like get your body relaxed, anything to speak your mind, talk to somebody, like if that's within your insurance or whatever the case may be, like go do that. Please do not carry an unhealed version of yourself walking around the world and interacting with other people. Like, you need to be responsible for your life, and we are the only ones who are responsible for our lives. So I was looking back at everything that happened in my life, and I was like, you know what, everything that happened in my life, a lot of these things have been very unfortunate, but all of this is in the past and there's nothing I can do to change it. But I can change my behavior now, but I can approach today with a better attitude. And so that's what we need to remember, and just to remember to face every encounter that you have with people, no matter how rude or how kind they are, with just compassion, because we all need it.